No, 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 no. What? Oh, what are you doing? Let's not walk on here. Come on. No, don't lay on it. The dogs have to be up here with me. So here's the sketch, and I will show you guys. I'll go down to the gazebo and show you what it actually physically looks like in person. But anyway, on the sketch here, I have, you can see that each side is 80 inches, and then I have that faint circle in the middle. That is where I'm not going to put fabric. It's not going to be covered there because I'm going to have a fire pit inside the gazebo. You know, you still want to be out by the fire, but not necessarily getting wet. So that's why I'm doing that. So you'll see there the dark colored lines there are the poles, how far up I'm going to go with the fabric. So the poles go all the way to the center. Like I said, I'll show you in person down in when I get to the gazebo. But so the inside is where I'm not going to do fabric. So I just had to make sure I measured. So basically I'm making 6 big triangles. All right, so there's that. So this other drawing I'm going to show you. So I drew out the actual width and length of the whole fabric. So it's 56 inches wide, okay, and 10 yards is, I think it's 360 inches long, okay. So because I'm doing triangles, the best way to use the most fabric, not have a bunch of extra, is to, as I show you, do the triangles together, but you have them flipped, okay. So the angles are going to be the same. So what I did is I measured out and added an inch for sewing. I like to add a ½ inch on each of my seams together. That's how I mapped it out to make sure I had enough. And when I did all that, like I said, the first time I realized I didn't have enough because these triangles aren't the full length that I need to get it as far. So I'm actually, the triangle, each triangle itself is going to be in 2 pieces. So the other second drawing of the 5 yards, I have the smaller triangles finishing, you know, I'm adding to the bigger triangle to make one large one. Oh, because I couldn't get, the 56 inches isn't wide enough. So I had to cut out the smaller ones. It's custom. I mean, I'm telling you guys how to do it yourself, but you're not necessarily going to follow these exact measurements because, unless you get the exact same gazebo. What you do is like I said, you measure the width down at the bottom or at the very end that goes along the outside rim of the gazebo. And like I said, I added an inch. So it was 80 inches. So I'm adding an inch. So I have a ½ inch on each side for sewing. And then same with the others, 38. So I added an inch. So it's 39. So one end, the wide of the triangle is 81. And then the other end is 39. When I go to do the other ones, I'll make sure that I leave enough, an inch or ½ inch on each end, again, for sewing. Okay, so like I said, I flipped them all, so they all fit perfectly. You can see there's 2 little mini kind of smaller triangles on each end. Those would be excess fabric if I need them for something. So then I took the 5 yards, same thing, did the smaller triangles, mapped them all out. Now the upper section of that 5 yard piece of fabric, enough fabric extra, so in case I make a mistake or do something, I should have extra if I need extra for some reason. Okay, so that is how I mapped out the fabric, measured it to make sure I have enough. So I hope that helps. I hope you understand it. If not, please comment below and I'll try and answer any questions you have about how I actually came up with figuring this out. All right, let's get going. All right, I'm at the gazebo. I wanted to show you guys in person what the actual gazebo, the frame looks like before I get started. I'm going to be sewing the gazebo from the end point here, you see here, okay, to this other end point. So there's 6 of them, okay, so this is where I measured from here to the other end on each one. So like I said, there's 6 panels, and on the edge of it, I'm going to put these little dingleberries. I'm not really sure what to call them, kind of maybe like pom-pom balls. They're gonna be pink though. So excited. I had to ask my husband if he was fine with a little more pink. He just smiled. So anyway, try not to have too much, but I just love the outside being fun and colorful, kind of like a getaway. Outdoor living space is so important. I love the sun. Something about being outside, you kind of feel like you're on vacation. So the other thing I wanted to show you guys is I'm going to be not sewing it all the way, covering the whole thing. So I'm going to have the center, okay, you see the center there. I'm not going to have that open. It's going to be a hole up there. Now do you see the little poles that are, or the little frame that's on top? the roof is actually going to go up to those, not all the way to the very center. And the reason being is that way there's a hole for the smoke to go, because the whole point is I want to have a fire pit in the actual gazebo. So I'm excited to show you guys the fabric I have. I bought it on Amazon. What I liked about it is I could buy 10 yards at a discount. It's called My Becca waterproof canvas. It is, I don't understand all of the levels. It's 600 denier or something like that. Anyway, like I said, I'll put the link below. It is UV proof, waterproof, so it's shiny. It's definitely, it's a coated canvas. This is the 5 yards. It came folded. The 10 yards came in a big roll, which is actually pretty convenient because then it's one big long one, and then I don't have to worry about trying to piece too many pieces together. So there's that. And here is what I call them dingleberries. They're just pom-poms, like a trim that has pom-poms on them. I bought this years ago for another project and happened to still have, I think, enough. I measured, I'm going to remeasure, of course, before I start putting it on, but I had bought this for another project. So, and this goes with my pink umbrella and my pink end table I had just painted. So this is going to go on the edge of the flaps of the roof. It's not necessarily made for outside, so there's probably a good chance it's going to end up fading, but I don't care. I don't know when I'm going to use this again. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to roll out the big roll, the 10 yards, and I'm going to get measuring and cutting. Okay, so I've cut a couple. I thought I would do a couple off camera to make sure that I got them right. I should probably take one down to the gazebo and check, but I'm by myself and it's been raining off and on, so I'm just going to be very hopeful that me measuring too many times, I'm actually going to get it right. Oh, let me show you what I've done. So this is how big they are. Each panel. It is 89 inches. Whoa, very slippery on one end. Thank goodness I have a big table too. So 89 inches, and then the other end is 35. So I still have to cut the top part. I have to do one more triangle on the other fabric I have. The other triangle is going to be, well, 35, and then the other end will be, it's 19 inches, I think, at the top. 19 and a half, so it'll probably end up being 20, so I have room to sew. Oh my goodness, this is quite a chore, I'm gonna really admit to you. I probably should have just bought one, but we're just gonna go for it. Now what I'm doing is I'm actually taking fabric and I'm clipping it on. That way I don't have to remeasure and everything. Because how it works is, on the little diagram I showed you, you just kind of flip-flop the triangles so that you're getting the same angle on each side since they're identical. That makes it, I guess, a little easier. Now sewing this, I mean, it's a lot of fabric, but sewing it is not going to be that big of a deal because basically just sewing some triangles together. But I think the measuring and cutting is really more of a pain in the ass than anything. At least I'm hoping anyway. So basically I'm lining up this seam and I'm clipping them and lining up all the well, three of the sides, and then the fourth side is what I end up cutting. So let me add, if you're not used to doing basically custom upholstery or doing things from scratch, knowing how to measure things, yeah, just go buy one, because like I said, it's gonna be awesome. I know the end result, assuming I do it right anyway, with the pink on the ends is gonna be, I'm gonna be super happy with it, but oh my goodness, pain in the ass. So what I was doing next was I was taking my sewing measuring thing, and I have a white pencil, so I'm still marking, I'm still drawing the line so then I can move this and then cut it, and it cuts super easy. It doesn't fray, which is absolutely amazing, by the way, because if it frayed, I don't think I could actually handle doing this. I'm gonna rip my hair out. That is a good thing. It doesn't fray. One less thing to worry about. Kind of like fleece. Fleece is amazing. It doesn't fray either. Super easy to work with. That's it. So see my line? Okay, so I'm gonna get cutting. I'm gonna finish cutting these and I'll get back out with you guys. Hey guys, So it's been a couple of days. Actually, it was the weekend. So I went camping, didn't really work much on my roof because I wasn't here. So I did test out the big, the one triangle that I had showed you guys what I had cut out, tested it out, and it seemed to work great. I have been cutting out the smaller triangles that go on top to make it a really big. So I had a triangle like this, so the top up here, to make it go all the way to the center of the gazebo. I had to cut out a little smaller triangle. So cut one out, sewed it, went down, had some help, checked it, seemed okay. So I finished cutting out the other triangles. So this is what they look like. So these go on top of the really big one. So now down here, like the long part, I have to sew to the other triangles that I showed you. I've done one, like I said, and I checked it. It seems good. Oh my goodness, I'm telling you again. Yeah, just go buy one. Unless you're really up for the challenge. Because it's a lot of work. Anyway, I have to show you something though. This is hilarious. So when I bought this fabric, because this is outdoor UV waterproof canvas, it had suggested getting some kind of specialty thread or like kind of extra good thread. Look, I don't know if you can see. Look how big this thing is. This is huge. Okay? This is a normal size thing of thread. Yeah, it's not fitting on my machine. So look what I had to do. Just so you know, if there's a will, there's a way. I took a stapler, stuck it on there, and it's worked. Amazing. So anyway, it won't fit on my sewing machine. These got to be made. I know they have these larger ones for sergers, which I don't have. But yeah, you make it work. I'm going to pause because I don't really think you really want to watch me actually sew. So I'm going to sew all of these triangles to the big ones. So I'm going to get sewing. I'll see you guys in a little bit. I thought I would share something with you guys in case anyone is crazy enough like me to actually do this. I thought I would give you a couple tips. I mean, of course, anyone that does this is going to know basic sewing, but just in case, I want to just remind you guys, you always sew the right side fabric to the right side fabric. So what you actually have, so this over here is the top of the triangle. So the bottom down here is the really wide part. Okay, so here you sew it together. Okay, and I did use regular sewing, just a straight stitch. I looked in my sewing book and they had recommended a triple zigzag stitch, so I practiced on a scrap piece. Holy moly, that is a lot of thread, which I have plenty of thread, but when I went to like pull it apart, it wasn't as good as just a straight stitch. You know, I don't know, the straight stitch, I mean, I can show you. Actually, I threw it away. Anyway, practice on a extra piece of whatever fabric you're working on. But I pulled on it, and it actually pulled. I mean, it didn't like pull the actual fabric apart, but it was, you could see the stitching, and the straight stitch you couldn't. So just FYI, just do the straight stitch. I'm gonna recommend it. I hope it will hold up in the actual, I don't know, I pulled on it really hard and the straight stitch worked really good. So anyway, just wanted to show you guys. So this is the finished thing. So this is the top. I really wish I had white enough fabric. I didn't have to do this, but it is what it is. So this is a really big, huge, ginormous triangle. So the next is going to be sewing all of them together. So I have really, I mean, this is going to be 75 inches is the length of each pole. Plus it's curved. So I actually added, I think, an inch or two to compensate for that. So yeah, so be sure you know, if you're going to do something for outside, make sure it's not, I mean, the rain is one thing. Like if you don't want something to get wet, you can just bring it in. But the sun actually does more damage than rain. The wind can do damage if it's something, but even if it's cushions or something that's super secure, the sun is going to be the most brutal. So anyway, so just make sure your thread and everything else is UV proof. The other thing I had read online for the reviews, they talked about poking holes for sewing, kind of allowing the rain to go through. And yeah, after sewing it, I'm not worried about it. I honestly think it's gonna be just fine. I mean, it's not like I'm gonna be outside under that thing in a storm, that's for sure, but at least for misting and light rain, this is gonna be great. This is gonna be totally fine. The holes are not big, okay? I did use a bigger needle, because that's what you're supposed to do with heavier fabric, but I don't know. I think this is going to be good. Like I said, this is a lot of work, but I already know the end result is gonna be, it's gonna be awesome. Back to sewing. I thought I would just give you that little tidbit tip. Okay, see you in a few. Hey, so I've been sewing. I've got 4 of the panels together. I wanted to show you how fun it is to sew this much fabric. Thank goodness the fabric is actually easy to work with. The issue is just how much fabric I have. So it doesn't fray. I don't even need to pin it together. It stays together really good. I'm just doing straight lines. So pretty easy in that sense, but kind of slow going, a lot of work just because there's so much. So this is 4 panels. My next spot, I just wanted to show you guys. I mean, I don't even see. It is all the way on the floor. Seriously, so much. It's crazy. Come back. And it's hot up here. Oh, just wanted to show you guys, this is kind of how you do it. Always remember right side of the fabric together. No. What? Oh, what are you doing? Let's not walk on here. Come on. No, don't lay on it. My dogs have to be up here with me. Like I said, it's actually pretty easy going on the whole actual sewing part. More so just trying to keep it fed properly straight, because the machine, you know, will feed it through itself. So you just got to make sure it's, you don't want to pull on it because then you mess up your stitching. And I'm sewing in maybe about a 1/2 inch from the edge. You guys can't even see me, there's so much fabric. Just a reminder, I was having issues with my machine earlier. It jams or anything, especially in the bottom, the bobbin. I hadn't cleaned it in a while, so I took everything apart, got all the little dust bunnies out of there, and it's been working awesome. So I forget, I'm not very good about it. Keep all the dust bunnies out of your machine. Okay, so 1 more panel. So then what I'm going to do after that is I'm going to sew the 6th panel on. I'm not going to sew it all together in a complete circle. Don't think I'm going to be able to get it on. If I do, and I'll show you guys when I take it down to the gazebo. I think I'm going to Velcro it shut, so I need to go get black Velcro. Sew that on. First I need to actually make sure it fits, make sure I don't need to take in any, which I kind of have a feeling, because it should be pretty tight. Otherwise, if you have it loose, water's going to puddle up in there, which obviously you don't want. Where the poles go, again, to keep it snug and actually on there, and then to sew on the ties. And then I'm going to sew on this. So excited. It's going to be so cute. Do that, and then I can actually get on there, but come a long ways, but still nowhere near being done. So anyway, so I probably will take you guys with me later. Hopefully I can get it done today. If I obviously need help, so I need my husband and some ladders to go do that. So hopefully we can do it later today. If not, in the next day or 2, I'll get it up, make sure it's fitted, get everything marked where the ties and everything need to go. We're getting there, slowly but surely. Wish I could get this done quicker, but that's life. All right, I will see you guys down at the gazebo. Hey guys, I'm finally down at the gazebo. It's been a few days, maybe 3 or 4. Things just didn't work out to get it put up. So it's up now, and it is so cool. I am so excited. It is not done. I had to put it up, like I told you, so I could kind of fit it and make sure that it was it's gonna work, but oh my god, it's gonna be so amazing when I'm all finished. So I wanted to kind of show you, so once you get the panels all sewn together, you are gonna put it on your gazebo or canopy, whatever you're doing, or the frame, and you want to make sure it's going to be tight. So my big panels turned out really good, but the smaller, remember I showed you had a small triangles on there, those I'd say I have to redo 1, 2, 3 seams, and then the Velcro enclosure. So 2 I don't have to do. I'll explain when I show it to you guys. So trying not to bump in, I have stuff everywhere because I just weed eated. So we have it clamped on, so you can see there's some clamps on there. That one end doesn't, but all the other sides or corners have clamps. Let me flip you around, and I'm gonna show you exactly what to do if you end up making one of these, and maybe some tips and tricks, okay? Hang on. Okay, so I'm up on the ladder, okay? I'm gonna get right up here and show you. So here's the corner. Okay, so that the actual ends are all pretty snug. It may not really look like it. That's my seam I have to actually, I'm gonna put the Velcro. You can see those white lines. That's where the Velcro is gonna go, so it'll be tight. So here's another white lines where I have to take in, okay, because these, like I said, the small triangles, they're kind of baggy, and I thought maybe if we snugged it up, I don't know, it's just not gonna work. So I gotta take it in, just starting about right there on up. So then what I'm gonna do up here is, because this goes past my bar, which is where I want it to end, I'm actually gonna put Velcro here and here. So I undid the seam. So I'm gonna put a piece of Velcro, so that way too, it helps it stay on up top up here. So all the corners are gonna have the Velcro, okay? So then the other thing I need to do is on the corners here. So right here, let me see if you can see. So right here, I'm gonna put a pocket, kind of like when you have like an umbrella, you have where the pole goes into, I'll show you when I make it. So I'm gonna do a pocket there so that each pole can slide into. All right, so I think that's it for today. If I think of something else while it's still down here, I'll let you guys know. Okay, so I'm back in my studio and I'm going to work on the roof of the gazebo and take in where I marked. I just showed you guys this up on the gazebo, which again, I'm super stoked about. The plan is, gotta find it. All right, so I'm gonna do the opening last, because that is where the fabric, or the Velcro is gonna go. So I'm gonna do that one last. Okay, so we're gonna start with this seam. You see, okay, so I marked, so here's my seam. Okay, here is the top of the gazebo. Down here is the end, okay, the wider part. So I marked my line here, and I marked my line here. So I need to come in, wow, quite a bit, actually. Probably what, 2, gosh, maybe almost 4 inches, not quite. I have 2 lines there though, so that's kind of confusing. So what I'm gonna do is I am gonna, yeah, so I scratched that one out. So I'm gonna sew, but I'm definitely not gonna cut any excess off, just in case I need to take out. So let that be a reminder to yourself. When you are doing something like this, do not cut off the excess until it for sure fits. So when it's all done, then you can cut off the excess fabric. But man, in case you got to take it out again, something's off, you're going to really regret cutting all this off, okay? So again, when you do this, I mean, this is all custom. So there, you're kind of on your own, other than I'm just giving you suggestions or just basically showing you what I've done. But you're not going to, doubt you'll find a pattern. I mean, maybe if you bought, like had I had the old gazebo roof, I could have obviously used that as a pattern. That would have been 100 times easier. But the people who gave it to me had thrown it away, so that wasn't an option. So if you by any chance have the old one, even if it's ripped and torn up, keep it, and that can be a pattern. Make your life much easier. The only difference on this one is I'm keeping the roof the center of the roof open for my fire pit. Yeah, so to do the center part, I'm not going to be showing you how to do that because I'm not doing it. Just keep your old gazebo roof and use that as a pattern would be my biggest, or my best suggestion. Okay, so again, I'm going to mark and draw my line. I'm trying to decide how far down I'm going to go. I may just continue until it fades. That should, keyword should work out. Actually, I'm going to come in just a hair. Again, this is not a cutting line, this is my sewing line. So I'm going to come all the way down and keep at that angle. So I'm keeping it at that angle. Keep that going till I run into the other seam. Okay, do you see down here? I ran into the other seam. I'm going to sew that one. Move on to the next. Alright, so I'll be right back, guys. Probably what I'll end up doing when I'm done, before I actually put the Velcro on, take it back down there one more time and put it on and just make double sure. Again, This needs to fit fairly snug so water doesn't puddle up in it. So I think once I do that, and if everything's good, then I can actually finish this thing. So, all right, on to sewing. So I'm down at my gazebo, and I decided to make the little pockets for the metal roof frame that sticks out, kind of like you see on the umbrella, like right there, the pockets where the metal goes into. So I'm going to do those first before I throw it up here and make sure everything's fit real well before I put the final Velcro on. So I'm just going to show you what I'm going to do. I'm going to flip the camera around because I don't think I can, it's really sunny out, so. All right. Okay, so you can see, I'm going to put this at the very tip here, because see, I can't go past this. Okay, my pocket can't be this long because it's going to bunch up. So I need to measure where this touches right here, but I'm going to do it from here. I'm going to make it 1 3/4 inch. Sorry, I'm going to make it 1 3/4 inch. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do. All right, guys, so I'm going to cut out rectangles, or whatever you want to call them, squares, for the pockets. Okay, so I know you can't really see the measurements, but I have measurements on here and here. So remember, I'm going to do a 1/2 inch seam, and then I have 1 3/4. I want room. That's how big the pocket actually needs to be once it's hemmed. So then another 1/2 inch for the top for the hem. Okay, so this is my strip. So put that one aside. So now what I'm going to do is cut the rectangles. Okay, and I want them each 3 inches wide. I'm going to cut every 3 inches because I want them 3 inches wide. So it's 2 3/4, and I'm going to do 3 inches wide. So right here, so I need 6 of these because there's 6 posts in the frame. So I'm going to fold over 1/2 inch and then 1/2 inch. So that's not very big at all, but again, I don't have room. Get the umbrella set up, and I'm going to show you how I'm going to stitch it on. I'm going to go ahead and stitch up one end right now. So I'm going to do all those, a quick stitch for these. Okay, so I got all of the edges on that one side. So now, because it needs to be an exact measurement, what I'm going to do, I'm not going to pin it, because this, if I put a crease in it, you can actually see the crease. So I creased it down, and that's 1 3/4. Okay, so I'm going to do all that, then I'll show you how I'm going to sew them on. So I got all my rectangles, my little pockets sewn. So I'm going to do, so when you fold this over, okay, this is a seam, you want it to be a nice corner. Cut this, okay. Could you see there's nothing kind of sticking up, it's just the corner. So I'm going to do those as I go, not because they're too far apart. Okay, so all I did was cut off a little corner. All right, on this particular one, because I need to hem, I left the fray, which is the very edge of the actual fabric spool. I knew I was going to hem it, so I didn't left that, so I had something to hem and wasn't using kind of the good part of the fabric. I'm going to do the whole, all the way around when I sew on the trim, but right now I need to do at least the corners, because I'm going to sew these on and they can't be sewn onto the fray because that won't be as durable. So I'm folding over the seam, and I'm doing pretty much the smallest possible hem. So I'm going to sew maybe 3 inches out, but I'm going to sew just one part at a time. I don't know if I can explain. So rather than folding it and folding it in, which is what I'm ultimately going to do to all the edges, I'm going to do one at a time. Now, if you guys know, when you go to turn a corner, needle down, lift up the foot, and you just can turn your fabric. Okay, so now I'm going straight this way and not this other way, and I don't have to like go around a corner. You can just move your fabric. So I put this back down. I know it's quite a process, but I don't know how else to attach it on the corners and have it actually look decent. Okay, so now I'm going to do again. Okay, so remember I sewed, so I'm going to do it one more time. Okay, and I'm going to sew this. So this is how the corner looks, all finished. No pocket yet. The the corners hemmed. Okay, so you want to make sure your corner is all hemmed, and then we're going to sew on the pocket. Put it on. So I wanted the very end. So I want the middle to be at the corner. Start on the edge and then kind of bunch it up a little bit and sew it flush to this side. So it's going to end up being like this. Okay. So you want to make sure it's center to your seam. And I'm going to go back and forth a couple of times to make sure that this, specifically this edge, has a lot of thread so that it will hold up. So next, okay, so here's what I have. Okay, the bottom's sewn on, that's the inside. So again, I went back and forth a couple of times, okay, to make sure it's extra sturdy. I'm going to sew the one edge, and because you want it to be sticking up anyway. I mean, you want a little actual pocket. Does that make sense? I'll show you when it's done exactly what I mean, because you don't want it like completely flat, because you want to have room to put your tool in. Number one. Here it is. So made a triangle, sewed it the edges, okay, sewed the bottom one on first. So this is what the other side looks like. So it's not too hateful. Okay, so this is where the post is going to go right there. All right, so I have 5. Well, I'm going to do 4 more for now because that last one is going to go on the Velcro, and that's going to be the very last thing I do. So I will catch you later when I do the trim. Okay, I got 5 of the pockets done. Like I said, I need to save the 6th one for the Velcro spot, and that is going to be after I do a test run to make sure it's going to go in the right spot. So now I kind of feel like this is kind of the fun part, putting the pink on, the pink trim, hem towards the top of it. Okay, so it means I'm going to fold it 1/2 inch and then another 1/2 inch. Okay, so it's going to look like this. I'm starting on the one edge where the Velcro is going to go, but I'm not going all the way to the edge because I'm not sure what's going on there. So I'm probably going to start about 6 inches in because I can always add in the trim after. And I am going to sew it in black. I thought about trying to figure out how to do it pink. The deal is, this thread I bought is UV and it's really tough. And not that I need this part to be tough, but it is going to be in the sun. So, plus it's already threaded, so we're just going to go with it a little bit. Anyway, at least to get going. I won't show you the whole thing because I'm not sure how long this will take. Okay, so I'm putting it down in half, another 1/2 inch. Okay, plus that way too, the inside is going to be all nice and neat. All right, so let me pin this and sew it, and then I will get back with you guys and show you at least what a small section looks like, because I probably will be here a while. Okay, see you soon. Okay, one quick little side note. So I'm still sewing on the trim, which by the way, there's 14.5 yards of trim, so there's a whole lot of sewing, but it's gonna look really good. Remember when I told you I folded in, okay, and sewed out a little bit to put in the pocket. Okay, there's the top, this is the bottom, where the pocket, where the pole goes. So once I got to this point, let's pretend I'm coming from this angle, I realized, well, how is that gonna work, right? Because what I'm doing is I'm flipping it up like this, right? And I'm sewing the trim on top of that. So what I ended up doing, I'm gonna just show you, I cut right here, okay, cut right here, took out what was sewn. So I'm gonna, that means for the right now, I'm gonna cut right here, take out all this, so it looks like this. So then when I come to, sorry, this is so dirty, it's been on my floor, which I have dogs. Right here, as I'm flipping in, okay, to hide the seam, I'm putting this on top. So then when I come down here, the transition is actually pretty smooth. I've already done it, what, 3 times, 4 times? I think this is my last one. I might have one more, I'm not sure. As I get here, this is gonna be folded and folded again, very small. And then when I sew the trim, I'm not going here because that's gonna make my pocket small, right? So when you sew the trim, sorry, it's hard to look through the camera and show you, okay. You're gonna keep it to where you're sewing, it's barely on, just enough to hold the trim on, okay, because that's all you're doing. This isn't for structure, this isn't for anything else other than decorative. So you're gonna sew just right here, the trim. try not to go up here because you're going to make your hole smaller. We don't want to do that. Okay, so again, I told you to do this, which is still fine, but when you go to sew the trim on, if you're doing it how I did, now maybe you don't have to, maybe you can fold it under and you're not doing a trim, and that's totally fine, but if you're going to do a trim and do it how I did, you need to cut it and fold it over. And I'm telling you, this transition, you're not even gonna see it. Let me show you. Okay, so here's one done. Okay, so here's underneath. I cut it here, and I cut it right there. So on top, look, you don't even notice. So there's the pocket. And when I sewed, see, even right there, I accidentally went a little, I mean, that's like an eighth, right? Just barely into it, but I'm telling you, try not to, because it's just better to stay as close to the edge. I mean, it's hard because you're kind of doing it blindly. And then this is what it looks like in the process. You're going to undo this and then refold it the other direction. Wanted to give you a side note before I was actually finished with the whole thing. Well, not quite finished, but finished with the trim. All right, I'll see you guys soon. Hey guys, I'm back. Finally, I'm finishing the roof. It's been, I don't know, several days since I've actually worked on it, but it's been up the whole time, just pinned on the two ends that weren't actually finished with the Velcro. So it held up really good, couple windy days. Sewing, I've done one so far. So at the very top in the center, okay, where it's open, there's a pole, and I'll show you when I get back down there. I'm doing just a little Velcro, just at the very top, just on the two ends. So it's just gonna be like this. Nothing like major. This isn't holding it up there necessarily. It's just kind of keeping it enclosed. A little extra security. More than just this. In the future, then obviously I'll fix it. But in the meantime, that's all I'm doing. The other thing I'm doing, so I'm going to do that to all 6 seams. So I have 5 more to do. Same direction. Okay, so not stuck together, not back to back. Same direction, just like we did on the curtains. Okay, so it's going to go like this. So I'm going to do them like this. Again, that's why you always test it. I'm going to wrap around the pole. This is going to wrap around the pole. And that's how it's going to be. One Velcro in each pole. I'll let you know how it goes. Okay, so I'm ready to put the long strip of Velcro on the opening. That's how I'm going to actually get it on and close it. I'm just going to explain what I'm going to do. Pretty self-explanatory. By this time, you should get what I'm saying. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take one of the Velcros, and not at the tippy top because remember I have that bar, so I'm going to put a small piece up here. So I'm going to start probably a couple inches down and just going to cut it the length of this thing. I'm probably going to do 2 runs on it. So I'm going to do 1 stitch on one side, flip it around, possibly, yeah, I'm gonna have to do it upside down, but yeah, and then I'm gonna do it on the other side because I don't want just a single one down the middle because it's not quite as secure as it probably should be. So I'm gonna cut this the length, sew it down one side, and then sew it down the other side. It definitely will make it a little more secure that way. I'm gonna do the other side too. All right, I'll get back at you. Hey guys, so I finished the roof for the most part. It's not perfect, but I am happy with it, and it's up, and it's not coming down. I also have the curtains hung, but let's do the roof first. All right, so I'm inside. Oh, I have to fall into my fire pit. All right, so here's the hole for the fire pit. So you can see I have my lights, curtain. So this is the inside. All right, so I'm gonna flip it around and I'm gonna show you guys. All right, so I flipped it around for you guys. Here's the outside view. Pretty happy with it. So here's the corners. Okay, so let me show you right here. That's where the pocket is. Okay, and that's on all 6 sides. Trying to keep it from jiggly. So here's the one issue, but again, I guess we'll tell in the good windstorm, but as of now it stayed. So right here, I can't reach up and show you guys. So right there, I'm about maybe 2 inches off. That's my Velcro. That's where I attached it all. So it goes all the way up. It's staying pretty good so far. It's been up for a few days. Okay. So anyway, there's the canopy. Okay. Pretty snug on the edges. pretty okay up here. Like I said, it's not perfect, but I'm pretty happy with it. All right,